I'm glad to join you this morning. I want to welcome all the listeners from the previous radio show. You're on with a community update, the mayor show, and we're going to bring some good information to you today as it relates to making sure that we can get tested through this COVID-19, um, COVID-19, and also how to make sure we get the economic development dollars that's going to be allocated to making sure small businesses can get the restart. Today we have on the line with us Minister Vic, Dr. Lawrence Reynolds, Christine from the Flint Genesee Regional Chamber of Commerce, Beverly Lewis from the Hasselbrink Community Center, and also Kelfani Stevens. Now, also, we want to make sure that we wrap our arms around those who have lost loved ones, those that may be suffering right now, and we want to engage in prayer. And we're going to be so kind to ask Minister Vic to lead us in prayer. Minister Vic?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
May we pray. Eternal God, thou who is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending, the first and the last, the author and the finisher of our faith, we look to you in these times. Even though darkness is across the land, we know that your light shines through. So it's in this wise, oh God, that we pray that you would touch each family that has lost a loved one. We pray that you would embrace them with your agape love and your unconditional love. We pray that you would give us the wisdom and the strength and the perseverance to be able to walk by faith and not by sight, even in these times. Heavenly Father, thou who hast been our refuge and our strength, life is given by you and it receives, it goes back to you. So we pray now that thy will be done in all of our lives, and we shall forever give you the praise. For it is in the mighty and the matchless name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
Amen. And this morning we want to continue our dialogue to talk about what is going on in our communities, and as the state gets ready to reawaken. And I'm predicting probably around the 28th of this month when the shelter in place by our governor's executive order will be lifted, and also the extension of my curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. also will be lifted at that particular time. And as we try to reawaken the economic ecosystem of our state and also our community, we want to make sure that we're ready. We have to be ready as a community. We have to be ready as citizens. And in order to get ready, one of the things that's going to be done in the next coming couple weeks is more testing that will be made available. It's going to be a few more testing sites available next week, mass testing for residents throughout the city of Flint and also Genesee County. And on the line with us, we have Dr. Lawrence Reynolds, who's been commissioned as the city of Flint's lead physician and advisor through this pandemic. Dr. Reynolds, are you with us? Dr. Reynolds? Okay, we may have just lost Dr. Reynolds, but we'll try to get him back here. So we're going to have 14 testing sites located on these particular sites throughout the city of Flint. Hamilton Community Healthcare Center, also Michigan Health Systems will be doing some testing, mobile testing, a Walmart drive-through testing, and also Rite Aid testing. And you have to call for some of these appointments. Hamilton Healthcare, you can reach them at 810-406-4019. Also, Michigan Healthcare Systems, we have to call 810-235-2004. Also, we want to make sure for Walmart, if you want to be able to go through the drive-through testing, you can call 866-448-7719. Once again, for the Walmart, 866-448-7719. Rite Aid, and this is the Clio Road, Rite Aid, you can call 810-787-2232. And that's for testing as we try to get Dr. Reynolds back. But we want to make sure that we manage to continue with all of the recommendations from our scientists and our healthcare professionals about social distancing, making sure you distance yourself 6 to 8 feet from one another during this pandemic. COVID-19 is not a joke. People have lost their lives. We also want to wear gloves and sanitize as much as possible. But we definitely want to wear a mask. Mask Up is a campaign movement by Gretchen Whitmer, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and also State Representative Cynthia Neely to make sure that we mask up. We must mask up. It's not a recommendation, it's a mandate by executive order from our governor to when you're out in public spaces, you must wear a mask to make sure that we mitigate the transmission of COVID-19. The mass testing is going to be able to be done so we can do contact tracing and so we can actually get a good look at who may be carriers of the virus and how we can get them well again and how we can eliminate the spread of this virus through our community. We have suffered as a state and also a nation economically. We have very little resources. Businesses are falling by the wayside, and that's going to get us the transition into our next portion here. We talked about getting some grants and dollars to be able to reactivate our businesses in this community and also in the state of Michigan. Dollars have been made available through the generosity of philanthropic organizations. One of the things that they talked about is African-American businesses and the restart of those businesses, making sure they had the opportunity to get a restart in this environment, this pandemic environment with COVID-19. And on the line with us, we have Christina from the Flint, Genesee Regional Chamber of Commerce. Are you with us, Christina?
Yes, I am.
Yep. And so talk a little bit about, we'll pick up from where we left off last week, but also from the Mott Foundation, additional dollars have been given for the purpose of African-American businesses and the restart of those businesses. And if you can talk a little bit about those and those dollars and how those dollars are going to be accessed and to move forward, how do we go about it and how can people get in touch with you guys?
Sure. Thank you for having me. Last week I was on talking about the Restart Flint and Genesee grant program that was funded by the Consumers Energy Foundation. And this week we had a big announcement from the C.S. Mott Foundation, as you said, who is dedicating additional funds specifically to African-American owned businesses within the city of Flint. And we've made a pretty easy process. If you go to flintandgenesee.org, you can find a link to the Restart Flint and Genesee grant program. And from there, you can see all the information about it and find the application. You only need to complete the application once. So if you've already completed it, if you're a small business with less than 50 employees within the city of Flint and are African-American owned, if you've already completed the application with last week's announcement, no need to complete it again. We will be matchmaking the funders and their specific criteria to the applicants if you make it through the process. It is highly competitive. The grants are for up to $5,000. You receive $200,000 from Consumers Energy that will cover countywide programs, including City of Flint, with priorities for businesses who have barriers, which could be African-American owned, women owned, other minority owned, among other things, serving underserved populations or areas. Those would all get you bonus points. And then, so once you apply, we have an outside review committee that will go through those and determine those that can meet the biggest criteria and get the most points. So we encourage all businesses that have struggled through COVID-19, who are in good standing with the state with less than 50 employees, to apply. And we hope that we can get dollars out to support your restart. Those funds can be used specifically for purchasing PPE or making other adjustments to your business that you would need to make in order to keep your customers and your staff safe.
Right. And Christina, is there a particular focus beyond the African-American owned business and for the restart? What types of businesses are we talking about? I know we're talking about sometimes barbershops, salons, tattoo parlors, and others, but what others kind of fit into those categories?
Sure. You mentioned some of them, and then also bars, restaurants, retail, construction and landscaping, daycare facilities, fitness or gyms, senior living or care facilities, and non-critical manufacturing. We get a lot of questions about, other industries, and what I would say is feel free to apply. If you're not sure, you don't see yourself listed there, I encourage you to apply. We will not take franchises. This is designed to support the smallest businesses that are locally owned. We don't support critical manufacturing or industrial-based firms, transportation logistics, financial services, legal services, real estate or landlord, farms, thin businesses like cannabis, casinos, those types of things, medical offices, or nonprofit organizations. If you don't hear your type of business listed on either of those lists, I would encourage you to apply, and we will determine during the review process whether or not you've been impacted significantly by the Stay Home, Stay Safe order.
Right, and this is a generous offering by our philanthropic friends and our partners and our neighbors here in this community and our corporate partners as well. Now, this $5,000 max, is this a loan or is this a grant? Now, this is one of the most frequently asked questions. Does these dollars have to be repaid?
This is a grant. This is not a loan, so they will not need to be repaid. We will have some requirements to report how you use the funds. You'll have to describe that in the application, how what you will purchase will keep your customers and employees safe. But you will not have to repay that. You will have to provide some sort of report and receipts from your purchases.
Right. Now, the concierge type of services, I know when they apply, they usually generally do this online, and sometimes people may have additional questions. And this is where I bring in Kelfani Stevens, which is our economic development coordinator for the city of Flint. And this is a service that the city of Flint is going to step into to try to assist the restart and the reactivation of these businesses. Because when we talk about our economic ecosystem, everybody's suffering in our country, and also the state of Michigan. As they announced yesterday, the state will receive, is having a $6 billion, and that's with a B, $6 billion shortfall, a loss of revenue projections. And that's going to have a trickle down effect to all communities with revenue sharing. And the city of Flint has already had a real tough time with this economic stability. And one of the things that we're trying to do is develop and having a robust economy by starting our small businesses really in this community. And so, Kelfani, we're going to be offering some concierge services so people can call you to ask questions in addition to what Christina has already offered. But Kelfani, go ahead and talk about some of the things that we can offer here at the City of Flint to be able to assist small businesses, even though it's outside of the municipal role, but we find ourselves in uncharted territory. So we're providing help on every level that we can to make sure that we will have that COVID-19 won't capture our business life as well.
Absolutely, Matt. Thank you very much. So let me start off by telling everyone my email address. That's K Stevens, KSTEPHENS @cityofflint.com. I encourage everyone who is a business that has any question about, what's out there, how can I be helped, or, I'm doing this and I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly, contact us. That is what we are here to do. You have a business that you are running. It is your job to run that business and to know the ins and outs of making and providing your widget. It's our job to know the ins and outs of all of the different programs that are out there to help you. You don't have time to try and chase them all down. Contact us. We will triage you and give you the connections to the different programs that are out there. In addition to the program that Christina just told you about, there are a few others that I need you to know of. The Michigan Women Forward Foundation has grants of up to $5,000 and microloans of up to $10,000. So again, that's a program that we are aware of, that we are happy to connect you with. Additionally, LISC, Local Initiative Support Corps, they have a grant program out there, again, to help small businesses in our area to get back on their feet, to buy the personal protective equipment. These are programs that are out there. They've been advertised, but maybe you're not running in those circles, so you haven't seen those advertisements. So contact us, K Stevens, that's STEPHENS @cityofflint.com. Happy to triage you and connect you with all the different resources. There's also still the state resources that are out there. There are even resources at the City of Flint. One of the things that I said last week is, yes, we've heard about all of these extraordinary measures, but there are still just regular basic practices and programs that are out there that can help you. The City of Flint has a revolving loan fund that you can apply to. The city, if you are blessed to be in a position where COVID-19 has affected you, but you still are looking at expanding, adding space to your business, we have loan programs that we can assist you with. The Small Business Administration has announced that anyone who closes a new loan with them a 504 loan or a 7A loan, the SBA will pay the first 6 months of your loan, not defer. They will pay the first 6 months payment of that loan. So contact us and we will help you figure out what resources are out there so that your business can continue to grow and thrive even through this pandemic.
Right. And Kelvani, one thing we talk about is that when I say the economic ecosystem of a community, well, we survive primarily off of property taxes, income tax, and also those that reside as businesses in our community. And so if our businesses fail, our municipality will suffer as well. And so we want to make sure that all businesses take advantage of these restart programs to be able to make sure that our economic ecosystem can survive inside the city of Flint. It impacts everything around us. It impacts our schools, our transportation. It impacts all of these things. And I want to remind people for the 2020 census that we're still trying to calculate and count people in order to get other revenues in for a decade. And so we want to make sure if you have not already engaged the filing for your or filling out your form for your 2020 census, to please do so. And also you can call the city of Flint. We have help here. Deval Murdoch is heading that up for the city of Flint. So call here if you have any questions about those things. Now, due to COVID-19 related issues, our customer service department in the city of Flint was shut down for half of last week. We'll be back up and running Monday. But if you have any questions about water reconnections or water related questions, you can call 410-2020, 410-2020. Now, COVID-19 has no respect for economics, race, color, borders, or anything. And so we're doing our very best in this pandemic, in this uncharted territory for us all. And so we're working very hard to restore a semblance of life in our communities. And one of the things that we have here in the city of Flint for individuals and especially seniors, we have our senior service centers. And one of the most popular centers that we have is our Hasselbrink Center. And on the line with us, we have the director, Ms. Beverly Lewis, and her board of directors. And she has come up with a fantastic recommendations and plans on how they're going to reactivate that center. She's also been tapped on the shoulder to join the Blue Ribbon Task Force about how we're going to resurrect community life inside the city of Flint, because it's going to be much different. Beverly, are you there?
I'm here.
Yep. So go ahead and talk about the programs that you previously had at the Hasselbrink Center and how we're going to resurrect the senior life in your space.
Okay. Well, Hasselbrink is dedicated to serving our seniors and other community members. We have health, nutrition, wellness, education, outreach, and local services available for all of our seniors. And most of that has been shut down. We've only been doing essential services since mid-March, which is mostly nutrition and some outreach where we can refer to other agencies. And, we all know that seniors are amongst the highest susceptible demographics for contacting the virus. So we are committed to having measures in place to protect them as much as we can. A part of our reopening plan, we're definitely going to be practicing all social distancing procedures and requirements for entering the center. We'll make sure that they're posted on the outside door, in our newsletter, on our website, our Facebook and Instagram pages. We will observe a single point entry and exit to help keep them safe. Each person upon entering will be required to complete a health screening and agree to have their temperatures taken prior to entering. Masks will be required and must be worn at all times except while eating or exercising. And a lot of times we see people with masks on and they only have their mouths covered. So we're going to be making sure that they know they have to have mouth and nose covered. Upon reopening will be under restricted hours to make sure that we can accommodate everyone. They must adhere to all distance markings and directional signs for their safety and the safety of others. We're going to be opening with phase 1 services, which are essential services, nutrition, limited socialization. We have been continuing the daily congregate meal, even though it's grab and go. So we will be doing that. We will have some limited in-house meal service. We will continue our Flint Fresh Senior Box and Q Box distribution. We're gonna let them come back and do the social distance bingo. They will have to have the paper bingo card, and they'll have to have their own markers. There will be very limited social distancing, socialization areas in pre-marked locations throughout the building. So we're just trying to make sure that we look at everything and make sure that all of our, everyone who enters is as safe as possible.
Yeah, I think you're doing a fantastic job over there with your board of directors, and I shared that with you yesterday, because when you came online with the Blue Ribbon Task Force to talk about how we're going to reactivate some of our activities inside the city of Flint, I thought the recommendations that you guys came up with for your center is marvelous, and we're going to be implementing a lot of those things across the border with the Brennan Center on our southern portion for our senior services over there. And so, but when you describe the changes for seniors when they come to Hasselbrink, and I know my mother likes to frequent your facility as well. She travels between both, but she likes your facility because you have some of the most richest personalities coming through your door, week in and week out. And so, but there's going to be a single point of entry and a single point of exiting. So when they enter, they won't be able to exit out of the same entryway. Correct?
Exactly. The main doors in front will be entry, and the auditorium doors will be exit.
Right, and so we're looking at the shelter in place is going to be lifted in the state of Michigan, scheduled to be May 28th, right before the Memorial holiday weekend, and that is when our curfew is going to expire as well. But what we want to make sure is residents and everybody in my listening, they can hear my voice. We have to make sure that we adhere to all the rest of the executive orders and the recommendations from our health community and also our scientists about masking up, making sure that we have a mask on our face. Masks will be provided. And I know the governor in her press conference this past Monday also announced this for a statewide audience in conjunction with State Representative Cynthia Neely about masking up and making sure that we all will have a mask on our face, and making sure that this project will go forth and we won't have the revisiting of COVID-19 back into our communities. But also, I know people are very anxious to get back to a way of life in our faith-based community. We have more than 400 churches inside the city of Flint, and I smile when I say that because we have a lot of people that's engaged in faith, and I am one. We're very eager to get back with our church families to see them, but we have to remember safe spacing, also wearing our face mask, and also continue to wash our hands. And I have Minister Vic on the line as well. And Mr. Vic, we talk about our faith-based communities, and so can you give us a little insight on what we could expect or how we should be looking at re-engaging the faith, our faith engagement under one roof?
Yes, Mayor. We're having a lot of dialogue surrounding this issue. We're being, as everyone else is, we're being very prayerful about how to roll out our church services. Right now, practically all churches are having virtual services. So the question is, how do we transition from having virtual services to having face-to-face services? So in our conversations, we've been talking about ideas such as maybe having staggered services whereby we might have a youth service in the morning. We may have a millennial service in the afternoon. We may have a seasoned saints service later on in the day. Certainly looking at the numbers while practicing social distancing, keeping the numbers under 250 persons and such. But in addition to that, we've also talked about what would service look like in terms of wearing masks, wearing gloves, and things of that nature. So I think we're being very, very prayerful about how we're going to re-engage this process. And I know at my church, we're not rushing into it. We're having these discussions with our leadership, where we're taking into consideration the health consequences and the fact that we have persons who are members of our church who do have compromised immune systems. So we're also interjecting into our conversation, these types of conversations we're having at our workplaces as well, kind of synthesizing those different messages, Mary Neely.
Right, and I will be putting together a series of emergency ordinance to regulate the capacity load or patron loads in any particular establishment. And just to give a small example of what that looks like, by our building and safety code inspection, that there's only so much capacity allowed for any particular structure based upon its square footage. Say, for instance, if you have a 1,000-foot square footage building, the capacity load or the patron load could be maybe 500 people. I will be reducing that patron load for a period of time to make sure that we have the opportunity to make sure that we can distance ourselves safely under the recommendations of our science community and also our health community. And so we'll be doing that. So we have to really look at the way we do business or have done business in the past, and that will change. That's a guarantee. The COVID-19 has hit our world, and we will change the way and we do things moving forward. And so, but we want to make sure we do that and have the partnerships of all that's going to be involved, and that's us, the people. And so we want to make it very comfortable. As Beverly Lewis talked about, making sure the seniors are going to be safe there, making sure we have a plan. And then once we have a plan, we all have to acquiesce to that particular plan, because the plan is in our best interest, and we have to plan for our future. And in order to do so safely, we must get tested, practice social distancing, wearing our mask, and also washing our hands. I say those things in the absence of Dr. Reynolds, and I apologize. I lost him on the line somewhere through this piece here. And so, but before we leave, I want to go back to Christina. Christina, we heard about the faith-based community, and also we heard about the nonprofit organizations that have activities for seniors and young people, but they won't qualify for this particular business restart dollars. Or what is there anything that they would qualify that you guys are operating through?
Not necessarily at the chamber. Our main core business is to support businesses in Flint and Genesee County. But I would recommend checking out, for nonprofits who have urgent needs, checking out the Community Foundation of Greater Flint and their urgent relief fund. Those dollars are out there to support nonprofits who are meeting the needs of residents in a very urgent and emergency type way. So I would encourage nonprofits to check out the Community Foundation program.
Right, and so because it's going to be an additional cost, and so some things that we have to understand that, everybody may not have a mask once they approach your organization, your business. So you may have to provide them. That will be an additional cost, or hand sanitizer, or cleaning, deep cleaning of facilities prior to being reactivated for people to come in, to make sure there's a system of security with it. And so we want to make sure that they have that. Downtown will look different. We will have sanitizing stations up and down our walkway up down Saginaw Street, making sure people can sanitize their hands between each engagement with new businesses. And so with that, we're going to have to end up closing here. But I want to tell my mom, I love you, Mom. I miss going out to breakfast with you. So it looks like the 28th of this month, right before Memorial Day holiday. It was after Memorial holiday, I just was told, but the 28th is when the shelter in place will expire, and also our curfew. But be patient. Calmness is strength. Belief is power. And I want to just say, I love you all. God bless you. Love you, Mom. We stay tuned for our Facebook Burst program for another 10 minutes or so. But our radio audience, farewell. And so, okay, guys, we'll stand by for the Facebook Burst program, and we'll just go through some of the activities in which we just talked about briefly for the new dollars. And so
At the morning at 9 a.m. The best variety of gospel music, the new 1420 AM WFLT.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and so guys, we can just continue on. We're off the radio now. I guess I was premature. I guess they gave me an extra 30 seconds, but that's okay. So now as we join our Facebook Burst program, we're here for another few minutes to continue to talk with you about what is going on and how we're to move forward as a community The shelter in place is scheduled to expire on May 28th, as well as the curfew for the city of Flint, as we try to resume some type of public life here in this community. This COVID-19 has turned us all on our side, but it's going to be up to us to get back up and to continue to move forward. And so we have to be mindful of how we're going to be moving, and we have to just sometimes say, peace, be still. And so with that, we have new dollars that's going to be activating to be able to engage small businesses and also small African-American businesses to be able to get them some restart dollars after this very traumatic past 2 months. And so on the line with us, we have from the Flint Genesee Regional Chamber of Commerce, Christina, as she talks about some of the new dollars that's available to us for a grant and not a loan. Christina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, and so go ahead and talk once again for our Facebook listeners about how they can execute.
Sorry, Mayor, you're cutting out a little bit, but I can give you an update on the Restart Flint and Genesee Small Business Grant Program. Was excited to announce last week that we had funding from the Consumers Energy Foundation to support businesses across Genesee County who've been struggling through this crisis, who have less than 50 employees, who are not in a franchise, and are in industries that are specifically impacted by the Stay Home, Stay Safe order. This week, we were excited to announce that the C.S. Mott Foundation has provided additional resources specifically to support African-American owned businesses in the city of Flint. And we are really excited to be able to provide very, very detailed support to those businesses. And in addition to the dollars, which are up to $5,000 to support your expenses associated with purchasing PPE or making other adjustments to your business to restart safely. We also provide technical assistance and support. So we will be looking at different training options and webinars, in addition to connecting and referring you to resources that could help you sustain your business during and after this crisis. So we're excited that not only do the dollars go out to support small businesses, but there's also capacity building included in this program.
Right, and also with that, we have Kelfani Stevens, which is the Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Flint, that will be helping residents to navigate the stormy waters of trying to figure out how to go about accessing these grant dollars for the restart of businesses. Kelfani, go ahead and talk a little bit about what we can do and how people can contact you as well.
Absolutely. So contact the city. Contact me by K Stevens, that's STEPHENS at cityofflint.com. There are a number of resources out here. You just heard about one from Christina, but there are also grants and loans through Local Initiative Support Corps and through the Michigan Women Forward Foundation. Your job is to run your business. Our job is to find government and nonprofit resources to help you. So contact us, and we can put you in contact with all of those different resources. Additionally, I want to remind people that, we're focusing and talking all the time about these extraordinary measures, these things that have been put in place specifically because of COVID. But that doesn't mean that there are not other programs that have always been there that are still able to help you. For example, the City of Flint has a revolving loan fund that you can come and use. We have other loan funds that you can access, that you've always been able to access, that are at very good terms, that are meant to help your business grow and thrive. Additionally, the Small Business Administration, if you close a new loan with them, a new 504 loan or a new 7A loan, they will pay the first 6 month payments of that loan, not defer the payments. They will pay those payments. So there are programs that are out there to help you. You just need to contact us. Best way to get a hold of me is K Stevens, that's STEPHENS at cityofflint.com.
And that's wonderful. And if you have a need to be able to understand how to go about accessing these sometimes much needed dollars in this environment, and this has been a carve out as it relates to making sure Flint businesses, you have to be a Flint business. So businesses outside the borders of the city of Flint that are not eligible, is that correct, Christina?
That's correct. That's specifically for the funding that comes from the CS Mott Foundation. However, we will support businesses outside of the city of Flint with dollars from the Consumers Energy Foundation. There's only a need to apply once. So if you've already gone into our website, clintongenesee.org, and found the application and applied, and you're in the city and an African American owned business, there's no need to apply again. We will just be able to have additional resources specific to that population. So we're excited that we can set some priorities that might make it more likely to succeed if you find yourself in that circumstance. So we are accepting applications that go beyond the city of Flint, but there will be special attention to businesses within the city.
Right. So when you say there's no need to apply again, so businesses that applied previously for a loan and was not granted that loan, so their application is still in the queue, and how do they reactivate that, or how do they notify you that they want to apply again?
Nope. So if you applied for the MEDC program back in March, that is a very different program. And the loans that were available through that, totally different process. Those were state of Michigan funds. This is a brand new program that we announced last week. So if you have applied since you last heard from me last Saturday, there's no need to apply again. If you did apply for MEDC, I would encourage you to apply. This is a different program with a different application process. It's a much easier process. So you can go through, there's no attachments required. It should be fairly easy to get through it. If you do need technical assistance, we have one of our staff folks, Tracy Joseph, that can help you through that process. And she can be reached at 810-600-1406. And her email address is tjoseph, that's TJOSEPH, @flintandgenesee.org.
Right. And also other entities such as nonprofit entities and churches that can go to the community foundation to see what programs may be available for some additional dollars to be COVID ready or COVID prepared, making sure the spread of the virus does not continue to grow in our community. Is that your understanding?
That's correct. Those funds are currently being utilized for emergency or urgent needs. But we're hopeful to see additional dollars out there to support. You mentioned earlier that everybody is going to need access to PPE and other equipment. One of the things that the Chamber is currently working on that would go beyond the support of small businesses, but universal to anybody at a nonprofit or anywhere else, is a listing of places where you can buy PPE. We're trying to find those resources that are available across the state and more locally, so we can support local businesses who might be producing these materials. So stay tuned for that. Check out the clintongenesee.org website. There's a COVID page with a ton of resources, webinars, and training. And we'll be listing those businesses that you can access to purchase these materials as well.
And that's wonderful that we have that, because as we look at trying to resume some standard of life, after the COVID-19, and we're not through it just yet, there is expected to be some what they would call a boomerang effect, that COVID-19 will come back to communities, much like what was witnessed in Georgia, because they reactivated their communities too soon, and it came back with a vengeance. And so here, as we want to be very prepared, and we have to get ready, and that's what we've been doing. And I want to go to Beverly Lewis, which is the director of Hasselbring Center, and she can tell you a little bit about what they have done to be prepared and what you can expect if you're a senior that has previously used that space, and the changes there. Beverly, are you here?
I am here. Good morning, all. Yes, we have put a reopening plan into effect. We will be working all next week on making sure that we have all of our markings in our building for social distance spacing. We will be actually just starting our phase 1 reopening. And with that, we will basically be doing essential services. We have been doing the nutritional services, but we're going to have the daily grab and go meals. We will have limited in-house meal service. We will continue our Flint Fresh senior box and Q box distribution. We'll have some social distance bingo with paper bingo cards. The players will have to have their own markers. And we will have limited social distance socialization areas pre-March. We are dedicated to making sure that we protect our seniors, with them being the highest accessible demographic. for contracting the disease. We will have a single point entry and exit. The front doors will be used as entrance and the auditorium doors will be used as exit. Each person coming must complete a health screening and agree to have their temperatures taken prior to entering the building, entering the lobby. That will be done right at the entrance doors. Everyone will be required to wear a mask, except for when exercising or eating. And right now, we don't have an exercise program coming back because we don't have anyone designated to do that. But as soon as we do, we will also have that as well with the social distancing. So we're preparing, getting the building ready, and preparing for our seniors' return.
Right, and we want to talk a little bit to the residents also that wants to share that space and the opportunity to participate in activities at the center. We fully expect everyone to acquiesce to the wills and to the will of what we're trying to do is to stop and slow the spread of the COVID-19 virus. And so we will be asking everyone to volunteer to do all those things in order to gain access to the building. If you do not do those things that are required by the board's recommendations to be able to participate, I'm sure you probably won't be allowed access to those community centers, and that's for the safety of all. And so we have seen some levels in some places people not willing to adhere to the rules or the law, but this is just to say that we're trying to make sure that we're safe. And so what Beverly is saying is that you're being asked and required to wear a mask if you want to gain entry, and you have to practice all the things that the board has come up with in order to be able to protect everyone inside of those facilities. And if you need a mask and you need those things, please feel free to give the city a call. We'll provide a mask for you, or we'll provide masks for the Hasselbrink Center for those individuals to be able to have them there if you don't have your own. But we definitely want to make sure that people are willing to participate fully in all the recommendations from our healthcare community and also our scientists in order to safeguard lives. And is that pretty close, Beverly?
That is very close, sir. Yeah.
Okay. And also we'll look at this, and we're going to be asking our faith-based leaders to be able to spread the message of masking up and wearing a mask, much like our Governor Gretchen Whitmer and State Representative Cynthia Neely has done in this new campaign, to be able to make sure that masking up is more of a habit than not when we out participating with others. The life you save may be your own. And so, Minister Vic, let's talk a little bit about the churches and some of the recommendations that's coming forth from the faith-based community.
Yes, man, we've been having this conversation, in our various churches, and certainly in my church, we've been talking about that. We've been talking about what will church look like as we transition from virtual services to the possibility of having face-to-face services. Certainly, we're going to practice spacing and distancing, wearing masks, but we've also talked about the possibility of having hybrid services. This only refers to the idea of combining virtual services with face-to-face services. This has been going on, but I think that moving forward, Mayor, we're going to see more and more of this, more and more of the faith-based community using technology and such to spread the gospel, so to speak. But we're looking at doing that, staggering our services, and possibly having a number or a variety of different services, ranging from youth services to millennial services, season saint services, etc. But always keeping in mind what the numerical cutoff is per what the CDC and what your recommendations are coming from your committee as well.
Right, and we want to make sure that every faith-based organization and church, we don't want to mandate any particular thing beyond just the rules and regulations of the safe spacing inside of your building. But we would like your deacon boards, your usher boards, and the pastors and associate pastors and ministers to come together to make their recommendations, much like what Beverly Lewis and her board has done over at the Hasselbrink Center, to come up with the recommendations to say that how we can follow safe guidelines and to service our patrons as well. And so businesses are going to get some activation dollars and restart dollars. And when we look at the hardest hit communities, it has been communities of color. And so we really want to get back to some level of normalcy, but we have to band together and stick together. And I want to thank everybody who joined me for this Facebook burst update as it relates to moving forward beyond COVID-19. The state is scheduled to reactivate into a normal, a semi-normal way of life after May 28th, when the shelter in place is lifted, and also the curfew for the city of Flint is lifted. We see activities resurrecting in our communities. Yard waste, curbside service has been restored. Also, big box items for the spring cleaning type of activity. You can place those bigger items outside on your curbside. They will be picked up. Soft surface restoration for our front yards have been resumed. Lead pipe replacement, service line replacement has not actually been given. I have not given a green light for that just yet because we want to make sure that we continue to try to eliminate the spread of this COVID-19 in our community. Water meter replacements has been also suspended for a time because this is where people have to come and interface with residents. And so we will encourage you to continue to support the critical infrastructure of our community. Pay what you can on your utility bills. We still have to pay for the service. The economic hardships for our country is amongst us. We just seen through the House of Representatives and our national level, as Congressman Kildee has been fighting for us in this new $1 trillion package that they're actually trying to push forth on our national level. He has put a package in there for the city of Flint, a portion there for $120 million for the reactivation of Flint and Flint lives. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed, optimistically hoping that this does arrive at some point in time, but it still has to get through the Senate, and then the president then still has to sign this package. But also in the state of Michigan, it was announced yesterday that it's going to be a $6 billion shortfall in this revenue generation. And so state revenue sharing for communities like Flint and other places will suffer. And so as we look for our budget hearings next week with our city council under the leadership of Finance Chair Councilwoman Kate Fields and others, we're looking at trying to figure out where we're going to land. But these are many variables, and we've already had a very difficult budget to deal with, but we can never overcome a death deficit. And so we don't want to lose any lives. And I want to thank Kelfani Stevens for his participation in this morning's show. Also, Christina, thank you for waking up 2 Saturdays in a row with us. And thank you for the last 7 years, Minister Vic, for being with us as well. And Beverly, I believe this is your first inauguration to the community update. And thank you for all the great work that you do over at the community center over there. And so I'll give each one of you guys a quick moment, and I'll start with Christina.
Thank you. So again, we're anxious to get dollars to businesses that need them and encourage all of those that think they can be eligible to apply. Check out flintandgenesee.org. Look for the Restart Flint and Genesee page, and you'll find the application on there. And if you need assistance, Tracy Joseph from our office can help you, 810-600-1406.
Right. Kelfani?
Contact me, K Stevens, that's KSTEPHENS at cityofflint.com. There are resources out there beyond what we have talked about today. And the only way that I can help you is for you to contact me so that I know what it is that you need.
Absolutely. Beverly?
Yes, we are anxiously awaiting opening and wanting to do it as safe as we can. At the present time, our hours of operation are from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to call me at 810-766-9516, or you may email me anytime at hasselbring1002@gmail.com. Thank you.
And Minister Vic?
Yes, I just wanted to encourage the listening audience to endure and to be faithful, and to remember that the race doesn't go to the swift or strong, but to he or she who endures until the end.
Right. And I'll leave you with the words from James Allen, which wrote a book, So a Man Thinketh. It was published in 1902, and he ended his book by saying, self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say into your heart, peace be still. As we all are going through this uncharted territory, I encourage you to stay strong and stay faithful. And if you're of the praying folks, please continue to lift each other in prayer as I will continue to pray for this community and you. And God bless you. Love you, Mom. Until next week, we'll see you soon. Let's stay encouraged. God bless.
God bless.
God bless.